So Spirit spoke and they said to call it the Elders Legacy Tour. My name, Ade Olomo, means the crown is the owner of many children. And I've been very blessed in my life to be able to go to the continent over 40 sometimes. And my prayer was just to go one time. So having done that, my next dream was to go with my children. So now I've gone with my children, my grandchildren, and my great grandchildren have placed their feet back on motherland in opposition of all of those forces that said we would never return. I wanted to go back because I didn't know who in my whole entire family line was ever able to go back to the continent since we were taken. So that was my mission, to make sure that I put my feet back on that sacred soil. And now I've done it many times. And I brought my children and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. And so when we talk about, because I am an educator, talk about critical race theory, I've been to the continent. I've seen the doorway of no return. I've been to those slave holding places. And so this is not a theory. This is what our reality, what we've lived, what our ancestors had to go through. And so as an educator, I'm going to teach. So they want to, I just saw where they want to make it illegal in Florida to teach about history and culture because they don't want to offend people. Well, it was an offensive act. And so that we don't repeat that, we need to teach about it. And what better way to teach than to bring my family, bring my children, let them see for themselves. So they see it's not just a theory. This is our history and our culture. Like Sankofa says, go back and get it. Go back and get all of those things that were taken that you don't remember. My name, my history, my religion, my culture, the way I walk, the way I smile, all of that becomes very important. And as an elder, there are some of us who have been to the continent. There's many who have not. And so I love the fact that we've come up with an Elders Legacy Tour so that people can go back and place their feet on the continent and see how the African culture has manifested throughout the diaspora.
So I want to say that one of the reasons that it's important to do this is because you get a better sense of history when you go to the place where history was made.
Absolutely.
You know,
be in the room where it happened.
Yes. When we initially opened up this conversation, Brother Hamptonio and I were talking about the importance of knowing history and the fact that families have to teach history to their children because they're not going to get it in school. And we were also talking about the fact that there is legislation here in Ohio to ban critical race theory instruction in grades K through 12. And there's also a movement to change the nature of the State Board of Education and give control of it to the governor, which is going to neutralize some of the effectiveness of some of those who are on the State Board of Education right now to affect policy. So it really is critical. I want to ask you, based on the fact that you said that you've been to Africa 40 times, which is really quite a bit. You know, that's a lot. But I'm just curious about how it has changed you. You know, when you got there for the first time, you know, how did it affect you and how has it changed you being there and going back as you do?
Okay. I'm also a storyteller, so stop me if I get long in the tooth. Placing my feet back on the soil. It's like, I've said this many times, it's like an electrical socket. And putting that plug right into the electrical socket and getting that energy and making that connection. So for me, it was that way. When you go to the slave dungeon, when you look out of that doorway of no return, you feel your ancestors. You feel them. You feel that energy. I cried. I've taken students. There was this one young lady who was very haughty, very bougie, as we say. And she didn't want to do anything. She didn't want to touch anything. She didn't want to, be around. She didn't want to be in the dirt. When we took her to that dungeon, and the narrator told the story of her ancestors, and this is where you come from, and how the people who rebelled were buried up to their necks in the dirt. And that's how they had to eat. That's how they had to sleep, and everything. And so all of the things. She cried, and I saw the moment that she changed. I saw the moment that she changed. And I asked her, "Are you okay?" And she said, "No." She said, "I'll never be the same." She said, "I learned something today." And I said, "What is that?" She said, "I won't complain." And that was the day she decided that she wanted to be a teacher. And I just thought that was so amazing. It saw the moment that she changed. So it's different for different people. Just going back to the concept, you can, as I've said before, you can't make me shame about this color. You can't make me shame about this nose, these lips, my hips. You can't make me shame about my hair. You can't make me shame because I've seen the beauty, the grace, the elegance, the royalty. There's all kinds of other things too, but people would have you to believe that Africa is just poor with people with flies in their belly and bloated belly. There is that too, but the other side of that is it's one of the richest continents. That there are mansions, that there is electricity and cities that are vital and vibrant. So you need to see it all. When I teach my students, I say it's like if somebody came and put a camera on the homeless people downtown Cleveland, sleeping on the grates, and said, "Oh, look at Cleveland. Look at the people in Cleveland. They're so poor." Well, there is that too, but there's Shaker Heights, there's University Heights, Cleveland Heights, there's the Severance Hall, there's Caramoo Theater, there's that too. So teaching becomes important, traveling becomes important. It's one of the best educations you could possibly have. I hope I answered your question.
Okay. Brother Hamptonio has been to Africa as well, and I know you and he travel in the same circle sometimes in representing culture, and Brother Hamptonio is a djembe drummer and, tied in with folks who are doing cultural things. Brother Hamptonio, you've been to Africa too. Can you talk about how it affected you?
Well, yeah, again, it's just something that you have to experience and go in there because and being in an environment, a mixed company, and then you step off into an environment that is all you see is folks who look like you. It's amazing. Then, and you see so many people, and I'm sure my good sister can attest to it and yourself as well, that you look at them, you're like, whoa, that look like so-and-so, so-and-so, And then when they start talking, you're like, oh, wow, man. And it's just, for us to even think about, them folks being different from us, you need to leave that alone because I took a picture of a guy that just looked just like my cousin. I mean, he had the white hair and everything, dark skin, jet dark with white hair. And I said, boy, this guy looked just like my cousin. He could be his brother, So it's just amazing, And then it's just, here's the thing in going though, and quickly is that it's a different country, a different continent. People do things differently. They're keepers to some of their culture. So you're not bringing America to Africa. You're going to experience a different country and a way of life and a different thought process for the most part. So for me, I was taking in all of that. Just looking at all the aesthetics and the difference and how people do things. And, like me and my brother always say, you go on a cruise ship and all that is fine. But, we want to talk to the people and learn the culture. And, I was kind of prepared for it a little bit, too, because I was married to an African for about 12 years, So, I drilled her and talked about, some of the experiences. So I was kind of ready for it a little bit. So it was wonderful. We have to do that and we have to connect.
Sister Ade, could you talk about the people and could you talk about perhaps some of the misconceptions that can be, I guess, eliminated? Because, when we think about how we view Africans in Africa and how Africans view Africans in the diaspora, sometimes there are some really divergent views, and they can be dispelled when people get together and start to know each other. So could you talk about what some of those myths might be and just talk about the folks that you have encountered over the years as you've traveled back and forth?
Sure. When I teach the kids, I ask, is there electricity? No. Do people in Africa wear clothes? No. Are there Mercedes-Benz in Africa? No. Is there McDonald's in Africa? No. Is there snow in Africa? No. And so I have to tell them, yes, there is snow in Africa. There is electricity and Mercedes-Benz, and there is McDonald's restaurants in Africa. And I show them the pictures. On top of the mountains, we go to Mount Kilimanjaro, and there's snow on top of the mountains. So there is snow in Africa, and it does get cold in Africa. So those kinds of things are the things that people tell you. They don't want you over there. I was coming out of the hotel in Senegal, and there was a police officer standing on the corner, and he motioned me over. And I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to get arrested in Africa. What have I done? And so he came over, he said, where are you from? And I said, I'm from the U.S. And he looked at me oddly, and he said, no, where are you from? And I couldn't think of anything other than to say I was from the U.S. He said, no. He said, look you here. And he pointed to his hand and to my hand. And he said, same thing. Same thing. Welcome home. And that's how I was greeted everywhere I went.